Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined by our dear friend, Randy Swaim, joining us today to talk more about, all his amazing coaching, all the people he's helping, and of course, bringing freedom to potential with his coaching for relevance. So first and foremost, welcome back to the show today. It's been a while to see my Marshall Goldsmith certified coach, but it's great to have you.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, it's always good to be here. I've always appreciated the times when we got together on a show. So I just appreciate who you are, my friend.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. So tell us about coaching for relevance, what you do. I mean, there's a lot to you as an author, as a coach, as the last time I talked to you, you were going for yet another degree, I believe. So fill me in. What's been happening?
Well, I was working on a PhD degree, and I'm still kind of a PhD candidate. But with some of the aspects of it, I stepped away from the university that I was kind of working with. Not anything negative on their part, but just that there wasn't a lot of clarity on you know, what was going on and everything. So I'm still going to do it, but I've got a couple of other universities I'm going to be connecting with and asking some questions and stuff. But I do have my autobiography out there. I think, as you know, it's published on Amazon in June, and I know I just got word today that the Hollywood 78 movie documentary that Hollywood is creating on my story and everything to be published on Netflix and HBO and all that is it looks like it's going to be completed within the next month or so. And so
Wow.
I'm just so that'll be out there also. So, I have a passion. Unlike a lot of people, I don't really just try to call attention to myself per se, but what I do is I do kind of work with some coaching clients, and I have, but what I truly do is I bring the coaching skills back, right to everybody that I work with. I work with a number of different areas. As you know, part of it's over at the DFW airport in training and developing and certifying jet pilots and stuff like that on certain jet airplanes and things. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that in fact, that's one of the things that I'll kind of share in the show today, that dovetails out of kind of what has been on the show a few times previously, but it's sort of a dovetail out of it. The aspect of what true leadership is and how you really get radical success and things like that is a lot different than most people realize in today's world. And so I'll bring some of that as I think I'm a certified master level neuroplastician with Institute for Organizational Neuroscience over in Germany, and so I bring that kind of understanding about how the brain truly processes and truly gains its insights and gains its intelligence and all of that, and how all that happens. And what I do is I bring the coaching experience and everything to leadership. And so that's kind of what I do. And if you think about it, that's very aligned with my company name of Coaching for Relevance, because guess what? If you don't do that, you're not relevant to people.
It's so true, right?
That's true.
And how do we contact you?
Very contact, and I think you know this because I've said it before, but I'll just share this, that I don't do sales pitches. If somebody calls me, I just have conversations with people. But if they want, you can go to my website of coachingforrelevance.com, and at the bottom of the homepage, it has my my cell phone number and my email address, so somebody can reach out to me if they want, and just have a conversation. If they have a need of something, we'll come up with something and all that. But just to have a conversation, that's okay. And so it's kind of thing. And I'll just share this too with you for the people that hear it. If you go to my homepage on my website, about 3 seconds after you're there, there's a banner that comes up, and you don't have to keep it there. You can kind of click on it to make it go away if you want. But the banner has a picture of my autobiography book on it. And there's a link right under it that if you click on that link, it takes you right to the Amazon page where you can purchase it if you want.
Oh my goodness. All right. I haven't been on the website in a while. So hold on. I'm going to check that out right now.
Okay.
Coachingforrelevance.com. Again, bring freedom to potential to all those that cross your path. See with new eyes, soar. But there it is. Yeah. Out now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. True
And so it's
story
a
of
real,
overcoming and soaring above the storms of life. Tell us just a little bit about it and what's so inspirational about it, because it really is an amazing story from what I've heard. I
yeah,
haven't read
yeah.
it.
Well, I'll tell you what, the comments that I've received from people is amazing. But as I tell people, and this autobiography sort of
Hmm.
tells a story about it, about my early on struggles, but overcoming that, and how leadership has been developed in me, and the awareness with some of the most incredible people I've ever served with. And in fact, to this day, I tell it. You may remember the name Richard B. Myers, who was I almost crashed my car. I got so excited when I heard in 2001 that he was selected as the General Richard B. Myers was selected as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I went, whoa, when I almost crashed my car, I got so excited, kind of thing. But he was my squadron commander when I was a captain in an F4 squadron, the Chiefs and everything. And one of the things that I tell people is he is the most fantastic leader with whom I've ever
Aw.
served. And I learned so much from him, not because of anything he ever told me, but because of what I observed him in how he interacted, how he did things, how he led, how he did what he did. And I'll tell you, I'd work for him any day, no questions asked. And I just appreciate that. But that's all part of the story. And really, the last couple of chapters of the story is how I have really applied this after the fourth defining moment in my life, and and going forward, and things of that nature. But like I say, the comments that I've received from people have blown me away in positive ways. Uh, I had several ladies that read it, texted me and emailed me, and just made comments that really just blew me away and stuff. Um, and there's one guy over at the airport that is a fellow instructor that he's read it, and he actually came up and told me that he wants me to come speak to
Aw.
his group and stuff. And he said that the pastor of his church wants me to come talk and everything. And so it's just uh, the comments that I've gotten from people that have read it have been pretty amazing. And I'll tell you what, I've had people that have told me that you got a story that needs to be told, kind of thing. And it has. So it's been out there on Amazon since June.
Yep.
And
I'm peeking
and
around
so
now.
so
We've been
yeah, it's
talking about when you were writing it so long
yeah,
ago.
yeah. But if you think about it, the leadership aspects that I learned are so critical that the vast majority of people in our societies today
Mm-hmm.
don't fully understand this. It's true leadership. And in fact, if you want, I'll kind of share sort of one aspect of this, because one of the things that you talk about, and again, this is something that I observed with Colonel Myers when he was a colonel, and our squadron commander and everything. Uh, uh, I saw him truly model good leadership. Didn't brag about it, didn't talk about it, just
Mm-hmm.
modeled it. And you know what? That's what people truly learn from. And one of the things on a show, I think it was the last show or the show just before that, we were talking about how when you're leading your team in a rapidly changing, unpredictable environment, and I mentioned this aspect of in your brain, if you're constantly going back to rote academic aspects in your cerebellum, you're missing the boat, and
Mm-hmm.
you're getting your people to shut their brains off and just go along with some rote superficial thing. But if you get them to understand what the processing of the real truth of this situation is really all about, that is where you're really developing your team. And the way that can come into your team is when you as the leader model that. and everything. And one of the things we were talking about on a previous show, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, is the aspect that not everybody on your, everybody on your team is a different person, and they have different, to a certain degree, they have different skills and different things like that. And one of the things that I brought out to him was, as a leader, you can't just kind of point fingers at people and make them do everything all the same, because guess what? You may have this person over here on your team. If you've got like maybe 8 or 10 people or whatever, this person may have clarity on what you're looking to accomplish and stuff, but not be aware of things on the side that seem like they're coming through. This person over here may clearly see another factor that's coming on scene that nobody else expected. And they may have a picture on that. The last thing you want to do is distract people and get off of that, because while this guy and your team is moving in this direction, this guy may be able to minimize the impact of this factor or whatever. Or it might be something that it's a critical factor that nobody else has seen, and they need to communicate it so that people are aware of it. And that is a huge thing. But you know what? With you as the leader, one of the things that I mentioned in the previous show is, if you see people that are just wanting other people on the team to just shut their brain off and just do what I say and all this, that's not leadership. That's control freak, narcissism and everything. And that doesn't get you where you want to go, because factors are going to come on scene that you may not even be aware of if you're shutting off the brain like that. And so what I mentioned to him, that you don't want to just point fingers and threaten and order people to do this or that. That's not what you want to do. About the only time you need to kind of shut certain things down is if you see somebody on your team who's trying to play, overbearing, control freak, threatening kind of things. And that you want to stop right now, kind of thing. But if you do have somebody over here that's experiencing something that may not have expected this over here, instead of just going over to them and saying, hey, you know what? Shut up, forget that, just go do this.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately is more common than people realize. And if you do that, you're not modeling leadership, and you're not bringing real success to your team. Now, if there's something where you need to just kind of get past it faster, yeah, that can be a factor. But you don't do that by just pointing fingers and threatening. No. What you want to do, one of the things that you can do as a good leader, and it's really bringing a coaching perspective, a facilitative style, but what it also does is it engenders the processing in the frontal lobe of your brain, so that people can enhance their situational awareness in this current situation right now, kind of thing. And the way you do that is by some of the questions that you're asking. You know what? If you see that this person is not seeing one factor or something, one of the things you can do is by asking questions that get their brain processing to uncover the situational awareness that they don't see or something. And one of the questions you can do is, what factors seem like they're coming, that are present, that you didn't know about? Oh, yeah. Well, and what made you not aware of them? Oh, yeah. You know what? What are you going to do going forward? Kind of thing. And so if you use a coaching facilitative approach like that, to truly get people to gain situational awareness of this situation, instead of just shutting their brain off, if you just shut the brain off and just have them shut their brain off and go do what I tell you, that's not leading, and that's not building the potential in your team. And I will say this, that if you have to wait until the last second where something is due, you waited too long. Wow. When you talk about your team, and when you're working with your team and building it, a lot of times those questions come up if you're aware of them, and you should be as a leader. Those questions can really get them, uncovering their awareness even before they need to, you
Yeah.
know. And when they go into this situation and other factors coming in, they're already aware of it, and they as a team know what to do because they've sort of come together and said, hey, listen, if this does come up, let's do it this way. What do you think? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that'll be successful. I'll tell you what, as we go forward, I'll watch for that,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And that kind of development comes from a true, facilitative and sort of a coaching style and good questions, but it also comes from true leadership. And what it does is not only does it just come from true leadership, but it comes from an awareness of the neuroscience of the brain and how that works. Because so many people in our society and around in different places, kind of thing, when you're simply going to the rote academic aspect of it, you may recall, I think I mentioned this on a show before, that dopamine is the chemical that your brain releases to make you feel rewarded, like everybody's just patting you on the back and stuff. Well, guess what? I came up with a term that I call the dopamine fix. And what happens in our society so often is people get addicted to just the dopamine. And then, you know what? And they shut off going beyond that. They shut off that. They just want that feeling rather than the true success. And if you're just aware of kind of some of that, but also aware in your processing of the other factors that are coming into play on something, magical success can happen. And as a leader, guess what? That's a certain aspect that you've got to model so that your people see the difference and they start realizing, yeah, this is something I want to bring into my journey, into my life. This is something I want to get better at. And you go, oh, wow. Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's have a conversation. And you have a conversation that helps them really sort of uncover their mental processing on it, and getting the real truth of that situation. And so when you're talking about, again, all of this is aligned with the organizational maneuverability concept, which, as you know, Jill, for me it's trademarked for me out of Washington. And it's a concept of leading your teams in a rapidly changing, unpredictable environment. Because guess what? Not everything is rote academic.
Nope.
And you'd be surprised at how many people I've even heard say, well, you know what? This situation didn't work out because that should have been like this. No, it wasn't like that.
Yep.
You didn't do what's right. You were not aware of how to get the true success out of it, even though the situation was different than you expected it to be. And so those are aspects when you're talking about the modern world that you got to be aware of. And guess what? As a leader, you have to have insights about that, and you have to be aware of that, and you have to know how are you going to model that for your team so that the people on your team see that in you. Like I said, I learned so much from General Myers, but you know what? Not because of anything he ever told me, but because of what I observed in him and what I brought into myself because of what I saw and experienced and observed with him. But you know what? That's leadership. And it's like, when your people come up to you and they want you to talk to them because they want to achieve and do what they saw something in you. You know what? That's a great conversation to have. And but that's an aspect of leadership that a lot of people don't realize. If all you're doing is having them shut their brain off and just pointing fingers and telling them what to do, you're not leading anymore. And leadership is different than that. It's much deeper, much bigger than that. And guess what? True leadership can make your team so successful that people go, wow, boy, I would have never thought that, kind of thing. And that's what you can get true success out of for your team, for your organization, and for the mission that you're trying to accomplish. And so it's just something to think about when you're talking about that. That does bring in aspects of leadership, of team development, of neuroscience, and all of that, because all of those are very true when you're talking about that. So just kind of an interesting point on that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we still have some more time, but let's remind everyone how we can contact you, Randy.
Okay, as I say, call me Randy, but just don't call me late for dinner. I'd say with a joke, but
Love it. Love it.
but yeah, but like I said, and anybody can go to my. By the way, you can go to my website. You can go
Hmm.
to my YouTube page, which has all the shows on it and a lot of different things and stuff. Doesn't cost anything. You can subscribe to my YouTube page if they want. It's not doesn't cost anything or anything like that. But if you go to my website of Coaching for Relevance, and like I said, if you go on the homepage, if you go to the very bottom of it, you'll see it has my cell phone number on it and my email. What I do tell people is
No.
if you do call me, if I don't recognize the number, don't feel bad. Leave a voicemail, because if there's so many spam things out there and all that kind of stuff these days,
Yep.
that if somebody calls me and I don't recognize the number, I'll wait and let it go to voicemail.
Ditto. I
And
think
then,
we all do that. So people with
yeah,
the
yeah,
understanding of that, it's so true because yeah, it gets scary at times. And I feel like, do I pick this up? Do I not? But there's so many robocallers. I just don't know what to do with them anymore. Ah,
yeah. And so what I'll do is on that, if somebody leaves a voicemail that they want to kind of talk about something that they saw here or want to have a chat about that, they're welcome to it. I'll also say this, and I throw this out to a lot of people too, if you want to give a call, because one of the things that, as you know, Jill, with PBNN, one of the things that we did is we kind of come up with my own show that's about organizational maneuverability. And I don't charge anybody to be a guest on it or anything like that, because I do that just to make a benefit for everybody. And there's a lot of people I've been told on LinkedIn that are reaching out to want to be on the show and everything. But if anybody hears this show and sees it and decide they want to try that, they can reach out to me and connect. And what we'll do is my colleague in Germany and I will get on StreamYard, and we'll have a moment to just, what do they want to bring, and all of that sort of stuff, and then we'll get scheduled for a show. And so it
I love
should
it.
be a situation where we can get more of those in there. So that'll be cool too. So just something to think about.
Absolutely. Exciting stuff for you. And do you ever take a break? Any vacations? Have you done anything? I haven't talked to you in a while. Anything to take a breather? Or do you ever stop? No.
Well, let's put it this way.
Ah, I love it.
I think the last vacation I took was about 4 or 5 years ago. and
Wow.
and part of it, and I will say this, that part of it is when you're living your dream,
Hmm.
and of course, I don't have anybody that I'm dating or anything like that right now. This, I think the story and stuff. But there's if I ever met somebody that was interested in a relationship or something, and we wanted to we both were interested, would I welcome taking them out? Yeah. But without that, it's just, there's not a lot of vacation stuff that I do. And part of it is just because feel so good and so passionate about making a difference in other people's life. Not that they'll remember my name,
Hmm.
but 20 years after I'm dead and gone and take my last breath, what I hope, and I think you've heard me say this
Aw.
before, what I hope for is that there's a large group of people that they don't remember that guy's name, but this guy brought
Nope.
out an insight, and you know what? I applied it to my life, and wow, what a difference it's made. And that's what I want. And that's, so really, with all of this going on right now,
Hmm.
that's where I spend all my time. And just sort of a little bit of a joke about it, but I've had a lot of people ask me since I turned 70 last June. I've had a lot of people say, "Well, when are you going to retire?" And I look at them and I go, "When I take my last breath, because I'm going to run through the tape." And
Beautiful.
my passion is just making a difference and bringing a difference to other people. And if I can keep doing that right up until I take my last breath, whether it's a year from now or 20 years from now, I'll do that. So that's my passion, and that's what I
Beautiful.
love doing.
Well, thank you so much for being here again, Randy. Pleasure having you. Let's remind everyone how we contact you.
Okay, and just so you know, I think you probably know this already, but it's a pleasure being on with you. It's great to see you again after a while.
You
And
too.
look forward to being on a show with you again. But there's like I said, if you go to my homepage, Coaching for Relevance, go to the bottom of the page. It has my cell phone number on it, and it has my email on it. So anybody can use that to contact me and have a conversation if you need to.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you back, Randy. And we'll chat again soon. Always exciting. And don't forget to pick up a copy of his book. Go to the website, click on the link right there and get a copy. Order it now. Thank you.
There you go. Well,
Bye,
thank
Randy.
you, my friend.
Have
Take
a great day. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.